Imagine attending a concert by your favorite artist. You're excited, surrounded by thousands of other fans, and waiting for the show to begin. Now imagine suddenly being trapped in a crowd so dense that you cannot breathe or escape. Unfortunately, this is exactly what happened at Astroworld in Houston on November 5th, 2021. To understand why Astroworld became one of the most talked about concepts in recent history, it is important to first understand what happened that night. Astroworld was a music festival held at RNG, Houston, Texas, and headlined by Travis Scott. According to Houston Police Department, Astroworld Festival's investigation report published in 2022, approximately 50,000 people attended the event as Travis Scott began performing around 9 p.m. Large sections of the crowd surged towards the stage. What began as an excitement quickly became dangerous as people were compressed together with little room to show. This is the visual aid I will be presenting. It is the crowd that night and how many people in the crowd. I will now show the audience. This picture shows 10,000s of people packed together near the stage with very little stage to breathe. Now I will show the Astroworld Festival layout, which shows that there were only 4 exits labeled in yellow. According to reporting from New York City Times in 2021, many concert goers said that they were feeling trapped and unable to breathe. Individuals who fell to the ground were often unable to get back up because of the pressure of the crowd around them. As conditions worsened, panic spread throughout the audience. Ultimately, 10 people lost their lives and hundreds more were injured. Victims range in age from teenage to young adults who had simply come to enjoy a night of music. The tragedy was not caused by a single event, but rather a combination of overcrowding, crowd pressure, and unsafe measures. What should have been a fun memory experience instead became a devastating mass incident. While the crowd surge explains how tragedy began, it is also important to evaluate how organizers and emergency personnel responded to the crisis unfolded. I will now show you the timeline of events. The timeline goes over at 12 p.m. doors opened, 7 p.m. opening acts performed, and crowds began to grow. 8:40, Travis Scott took the stage. At 9 p.m., the crowd density increased. At 9:30, there were reports of injuries and unconscious people. At 9:38, the fire department declared an emergency. At 9:55, Travis Scott stopped performing. And at 10:30, victims were transported to the hospital and 10 people lost their lives. As reports of injuries started coming in, security personnel and medical teams attempted to assist victims. However, according to Houston Police Department 2022 investigation report, emergency responders found significant challenges moving through the density-packed crowd. Medical carts struggled to reach injured people because attendees were packed so close together. According to New York City Times, some audience members attempted to alert security, personnel, and event staff about the dangerous conditions. Others climbed onto platforms, equipment in order to get attention. Despite growing reports of medical emergency, the issue continued for a significant amount of time. The Houston Fire Department eventually declared the situation a mass casualty incident. However, communication between emergency responders, security personnel, and event organizers appeared to be inconsistent. The community breakdown became one of the most criticized aspects of the response. The National Fire Protection Association explains that effective crowd management depends on clear communication, rapid response systems, and etc. When these systems fail, dangerous things happen. There were warning signs for this crisis. Although emergency personnel worked to assist victims under extremely difficult circumstances, their responses highlighted weaknesses in planning out communication that contributed to the severity of the crisis. While understanding what happened and how the response unfolded, it is important to examine what could have been done differently. Several safety experts have suggested that strangers' crowd management measures could have redirected the risk of a deadly crowd surge. If they used barriers, it could have divided the large crowd and prevent thousands of attendees from smashing into each other. Another improvement would have been better crowd monitors. According to Federal Emergency Management, organizations should have to monitor crowds' density and have plans in place for responding to overcrowding before conditions become dangerous. Communication also needs big improvement. Security, medical event coordinators should have had faster, more effective systems for sharing information. Once reports of injuries and crowd compression became widespread, organizations should have taken immediately taken time, and this would have ended. Perhaps the most important lesson from Astroworld is the concert should have passed or stopped sooner. Stopping a performance can reduce crowd pressure and allow emergency responders to reach those in need. While canceling a performance is never an easy decision, protecting human life must always be the top priority. The Astroworld disaster demonstrates why safety planning cannot be an afterthought. Entertainment events bring safety people together, but they also create significant responsibilities for organizations, security, and emergency responders. The last visual aid will be the lessons that have been learned from Astroworld. The lessons we learned today is better crowd management, use more barriers, monitor the crowd density, and limit the people in high-risk areas. We could have had improved communication, stronger communication between security, clear immediate sharing of information, stronger emergency planning, more medical staff and equipment, more routes for exits, stop the show sooner, pause or stop the performance as soon as there's signs of dangers. And the fifth and last one is accountability and safety culture. Make safety the top priority over entertainment. Hold organizers accountable and learn from this tragedy to prevent others. Today, I discussed what happened during the Astroworld disaster, how organizations and emergency personnel responded, and what could have been done differently. The Astroworld tragedy became a crisis because of failures in crowd management, emergency response, and event planning. Most importantly, it serves as a reminder that public safety must always come before fun. By learning from this tragedy and applying these lessons to future events, organizers and organizations can help ensure that a night of fun doesn't turn wrong. Thank you.